Turkey's 1.7 billion mega dam. Controversy versus success. This giant structure brought a lot of controversy, chaos, and discord between the government of Turkey and its people. A project that was meant to significantly boost the economy, provide employment, and improve the lives of Turkish citizens, instead drove thousands of people from their homes, lost all its international funding, and even caught the interest of a heavily armed anti-government group. What was the motive behind the building of this mega structure? What are the problems it came with? And what is the impact of this project on the locals and the country as a whole? The Ilisu Dam, a 1.7 billion mega dam project, was constructed in the southeastern part of Turkey. The dam was planted on the Tigris River, one of the most historically important landmarks in ancient history with respect to the Mesopotamian era. It all started when the Turkish government decided to build a dam to tackle the dire need for electricity that had plagued the country even before the Second World War. The government surveyed the length of the Tigris River, and after feasibility studies and years of investigation, the Ilisu region was picked for its geographical advantage. The hydroelectric power project was aimed at flood control, water storage, and support power distribution. The dam was designed to stretch over a distance of 2 kilometers with a height of 135 meters. It was certainly the largest of the 22 dams of the southeastern projects in Anatolia. The Southeastern Anatolia projects, also called SAP, had an enormous budget of $32 billion, which covered 22 dams and 19 power plants that would churn out 27 gigawatts of power. The Ilisu reservoir structure was to cover 10.4 billion cubic meters of space. Construction began on the 5th of August 2006 with the building of a smaller Cizre Dam, which was erected downstream for irrigation and power. The government had hoped to complete the project by 2016. They did not anticipate the problems that came next. In 2008, the international bodies and European agencies funding the hydroelectric power dam decided to pull out their funding support. Consequently, the construction was stopped abruptly. Why did this happen? It was all because of an ancient town known as Hasankeyf. You see, the town Hasankeyf lay just 60 kilometers upward of the location of the dam, and this town was home to very important archaeological sites that dated thousands of years back. Whenever the reservoir of the dam is filled up with water, a larger portion of the town is submerged, affecting mosques, churches, tombs, and homes. Because of the flood, about 80,000 people in 200 villages were forced to relocate from their homes. The flood was not only driving people away from their homes, but it also posed a serious environmental problem. Human rights agencies and environmental protection groups began to publicize the catastrophe that was destroying the lives of people as well as the environment, pressuring international funders to cut off funding immediately. The dam project had caught a snag, but the Turkish government was determined to go through with the project anyway and decided to seek funding from internal investors. The Turkish Minister of Environment at that time, Veysel Eroğlu, said, "These power plants will be built and no one can stop it." Construction resumed on the project in 2010 after receiving significant funding from local banks. Just 4 years later, the next calamity hit. In 2014, the Turkish government had to stop construction on the dam because of the attacks by insurgent groups. Who were these armed militant groups and what was their interest in the project? Here's their story. Turkey consists of various ethnicities, and one of these ethnic groups is the Kurds. They make up about 20% of the Turkish population and were regarded as a minority group. An aggrieved number of the Kurds formed a political militant group known as the Kurdistan Workers' Party, in short, PKK. They aspire for an independent state for the Kurds and have indulged in numerous conflicts with the government over the years in the quest to achieve their goal. These conflicts are frequently violent and have existed for years. The PKK is headquartered in southeast Anatolia. Therefore, all of the SAP projects had a major effect on them and were perceived by the PKK as strategies by the government to silence them. The PKK launched numerous attacks at project sites, especially the Ilisu Dam, in an attempt to stop the Turkish government from blocking them out. Construction of the dam was hindered for a few months. On the 19th of May 2020, The Ilisu hydroelectric dam was launched. It was fully equipped with 6 large turbines and stations that churn out 1,200 megawatts with an annual generation of 3.833 gigawatts an hour. The dam had the capacity to power up to 1.3 million homes. With all the controversies following the construction of the dam, it is difficult to ascertain if the dam was built for the betterment of its citizens or if it was just one of those projects that the government was determined to execute, even at the cost of causing irreparable damages to the lives of the people. The Ilisu Dam is one of the mega projects that is supposed to be welcome development to the region because of the advantage of electricity that it proposes. But there are a few challenges that turned this great idea into a political problem for the indigenous of Hasankeyf and other villages and hamlets. Firstly, the Turkish government had not taken into cognizance the number of people that would be displaced and rendered homeless by the flooding caused by the dam, as well as the conflict that ensued with the PKK over the project. In 2006, the estimated numbers of displaced persons were as high as 61,620. At the start of the project, the government projected that the dam would generate 10,000 jobs, boost agricultural practices in the area, and expand the tourism industry. But many argued that the historical treasure in the archaeological sites in Hasankeyf would be lost to the wreckage of flooding and therefore would greatly harm the tourism industry. In response to this, national treasures such as documents, historical structures, and artifacts were gathered and relocated to higher grounds. Some were carefully dismantled to maintain their integrity and moved to a new historical park where they could be preserved to ensure that the great history of the region was not lost. Another major problem was the issue of biodiversity. Environmentalists believe that the flooding not only displaced humans, but also put the regional flora and fauna at risk. Many of the local species have been endangered by the man-made disaster. Animals such as the Eurasian otter, red-wattled lapwing, and other local species have been forced out of their natural habitat, and this may negatively affect the distribution of species in the area. Many analysts also expressed concerns, arguing that there were other alternative solutions to sustainable power, ranging from solar farms to wind-powered plants, which were cost-effective and would provide abundant electric supply without the need to depopulate areas, destroy historical sites, or submerge the habitats of local species in the area. The affair of building a dam appeared more political than an actual economic need. However, many other locals have been affected positively by the dam since it became fully operational. While these controversies exist, other problems are yet unresolved. In 2018, the dam was completed, and preparations were being made to fill up the reservoir. During this period, the Iraqi government sent a message to Turkish authorities, asking them to postpone filling up the reservoir for a while. This was because downstream countries that also depended on the Tigris River for its source of water supply would be negatively affected. To put things in perspective, while the upstream experienced an abundance of water due to the reservoir filling, the downstream would experience water shortages, especially in areas like the Mosul Dam. The Iraqi governorates complained of having the lowest portion of water from the river Tigris for years. After the Ilisu Dam was constructed, the amount of Tigris water shared with the Iraqi fell drastically from a whopping 21 billion cubic meters to barely 9.7 billion cubic meters. It is also projected that the situation might get worse. This new problem might cause the drying up of the Mesopotamian marshes or the destruction of an established ecological system. With all this, a new wave of difficulty may arise, causing Iraqi protests and potential conflict between the people and the government. The authorities are yet to carve out a solution that creates a balance between the upstream and the downstream, as well as satisfies other environmental and human requirements. In its inception, the loss of international funding was a huge setback for the Turkish government. The construction cost itself, which was set at 1.7 billion, also increased significantly because of loans that were secured internally to complete the project. This financial burden still existed and would likely take some time to pay off. So far, there have been so many negatives about the Ilisu Dam. Are there any positive impacts to the construction of the Mammoth Dam? Or is it just another national burden? There certainly is light at the end of the tunnel after all. The construction of the dam has improved electrical distribution to the area, which has enabled innovations, industrialization, and allowed business to function effectively. It has reduced the country's reliance on fossil fuels and opened the doors to the use of clean and sustainable energy. It has also contributed immensely to the agricultural sector by improving controlled irrigation systems. The result is a substantive increase in crop production. Thousands of people have also gained employment through this development, as job positions inevitably open up to support the operations and management of blooming industries. Turkey's $1.7 billion project did come with a lot of challenges and setbacks that made it take longer to build than was initially projected. However, upon completion, it began to bring development, commerce, and economic growth to the country. This is what makes it one of the most controversial projects despite its successes. What are your thoughts on the matter? Is there something that could have been done differently? Please let us know in the comments. If you liked this video, be sure to subscribe, smash that like button, and turn on notifications. Till next time,